Good morning and welcome to Real Talks Dominate Real Estate. It's February 12th, 2021, and I'm Charlie Bengel.
And I'm Eyerusalem Meaza. Grab a cup of coffee. Let's make your real estate career better.
What's in the news today, Eyerusalem?
More buyers are eyeing on a vacation home during the pandemic. Mortgage applications for second homes jumped 84% year over year in January. In September 2020, they surged by an even greater amount, 118% year over year. Although demand is down slightly from the fall peak, the fact that nearly twice as many second home buyers submitted applications in January as the year before means the popularity of vacation homes is not a fad. Says Taylor Marr, an economist for real estate brokerage Redfin. Many Americans have realized remote work is here to stay, allowing some fortunate people to work from a lakefront cabin or ski condo indefinitely. The annual rise in second home applications is more than double the increase in applications for primary homes, according to an analysis of nationwide mortgage applications conducted by Redfin. In response, home prices in vacation hotspots are rising, with many seeing double digits yearly growth, but inventory remains tight. In other news, as home prices rise by double-digit margins year over year, homeowners are increasingly viewing selling favorably. Consumers reported a significantly more positive view of home selling conditions month over month in January, jumping 16 percentage points on net, according to Fannie Mae's Home Purchase Sentiment Index, based on a survey of 1,000 consumers. Overall, the index's monthly increase was driven largely by a substantial jump in the share of consumers reporting that it's a good time to sell a home, with many citing favorable mortgage rates, high home prices, and low housing inventory as their primary rationale, says Doug Duncan, Fannie Mae's chief economist. Among owners and higher income groups, however, the other five components of the index remained relatively flat or slightly negative, suggesting to us that some consumers are waiting to gauge the effectiveness of any new fiscal policies and vaccination distribution programs on both housing and the larger economy. Duncan notes that lower income and renter groups were more optimistic in January across nearly all of the index's components. More highlights from the January index reading. 52% of consumers say it's a good time to buy a home, mostly unchanged from December 2020. 57% of consumers say it's a good time to sell a home, increasing from 50% the month prior. 41% of consumers believe home prices will go up over the next 12 months. 75% of consumers say they are not concerned about losing their job in the next 12 months, unchanged from December 2020. 21% of consumers say their household income is significantly higher than it was 12 months ago, while the percentage who say their household income is significantly lower decreased to 14%. 64% of consumers say their household income is about the same. In other news, the National Association of Realtors, NAR, recently released its latest quarterly report, which found that 88% of the metros followed, 161 areas, saw double-digit increases year over year. This is down from the third quarter, when only 115 metros saw this type of growth. The national median existing single-family home price increased 14.9% year over year to $315,900. All regions experienced double-digit year-over-year price growth. The Northeast took the lead at 20.7%, followed by the West at 15.5%, the Midwest at 15.1%, and the South at 14%. Charlie, what's going on with rates?
Thanks, Eyerusalem. 30-year fixed rates are at 2.875%. The jumbo rate is 2.625%. FHA and VA rates are 2.5%. These are purchase rates based in the Washington metropolitan market, brought to us by PNC Mortgage. Back over to you to discuss today's market.
In the last week in Hampton Roads, we saw 1,076 new listings hit the market, 1,617 properties go pending, and 906 homes sold. In the last week in the Washington metro area, within 30 miles of the White House, we saw 642 new listings hit the market, 841 new listings at the market for Hampton Roads, and 568 homes sold. And back over to Charlie with our special guest.
Good thing it's Friday. Amy Lassen, Coach Amy, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, Charlie.
Good morning. Today we're going to be talking about creative ways to get more listings. That's a hot topic. You know, I found it interesting in Eyerusalem's talk or her news segment that 57% of sellers think that it's a good time to sell. I don't know how the survey question was asked, but does that mean that 43% think that it's a bad time to sell? And if so, I wonder why. Right? I mean, I'd love to explore that more. I'd love to get into the data or do 43% of the people think it's a bad time to buy or sell because they don't know where they would go? Or do they think the market has room to run? I mean, it's just that struck me, 57%. It's not a bad number. There's a lot of people that think that it's not a good time to sell, when I think most agents would say this is the best market to sell that we've had in 10, 15 years. Right?
Right. I think you're so right to question how is the question worded? Because is it a good time to sell in your life? Well,
right.
No, I have no desire to move.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
or if you wanted to move, do you think it's a good time to sell? Yeah, I mean, I would love to know how that question is asked, because I'm wondering, have we done as an industry, have we done a good enough job educating sellers that it is a good time to sell if it's something that they want to do? Or are there people that don't know that it's a good time to sell if the time is right for their family? Just like there's people that are running around with the 4.5% interest rate and they think it's a great rate, right? Oh, 4.5, that's fantastic. They have no idea that they're overpaying because they're not paying attention. We pay attention to the market. We pay attention to the real estate news, but I don't think most people do. Real estate home prices have been a popular topic in the real estate community, but I think we're in our own bubble so much. It's like, is that really a popular topic at a party? Who knows? We're never at a party anymore, right? It's occasionally mentioned on the news, but the news has been dominated by politics, racial inequality, coronavirus, right? I mean, the housing market's not leading the news on any program, right? Unless it's like a CNBC program or something, perhaps, but probably not, right? GameStop is the number one thing with CNBC right now. So anyway, I don't know what your thinking is on creative ways to generate listings. We're going to dive into that in a minute, but it's funny when I talk to clients and they say, to coaching clients, and they say, oh, I got a new listing this week. Oh, I got 3 new listings this week. I always say, where did they come from?
Right.
And almost every time it's, well, I was doing my hour of power. I was talking to past clients. I got a referral. So, it's kind of back to basics here. If you want more listings, pick up the phone. And that's not particularly creative. And, and I get that, but especially if we have 4 out of 10 people that think for some reason that it's not a good time to sell. And, maybe that's just, it is open to interpretation, but does everybody that we know that it's a good time to sell, even with COVID, if they want to sell? We can do it safely.
Sure.
Their price is up. They have more equity than they realize. Does everybody know that? My guess is probably not.
Right. And I think you're addressing a very vital part of this. Like, we could blurt out, I've got a ridiculously long list of creative ideas. The problem is it's overlooking what you're talking about. And that is communicating in a very simple, meaningful way with the people who already know who you are. Because I say this Charlie, I probably need to pick a new shtick as a coach, because I think I repeat myself too much when I say, okay, guys, remember, easily 90% of the people that you talk to are going to say, no, thanks, I'm not interested. Why is that? Your scripts aren't good enough? You're bad on the phone? No, that's the national move rate. Not everybody moves. So I think all these people who are afraid of picking up the phone, what if they say, no, you're not selling perfume or shoes. We're not talking people into moving, right? So easily 90%, like seriously, I've Googled it before. I think the national move rate, according to some organizations, is like 11%, but that includes tenants, renters, right?
Yep.
So you and I said before that a farm that has a 7% turnover move rate would be great. So somewhere between 11 and 7 is apparently the actual move rate. Let's say 8% of all people are willing to list their home in any given year, which is a little high. You and I both know neighborhoods where people don't leave.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like 3% turnover.
Yeah, turnover rate's 3-4%. Yep.
So if you called 100 people in your database or cold, right? what percentage of them are really going to lean into that conversation and be super grateful for the info because they desperately want to move? Very few.
Right.
So if you could just wrap your head around the fact that we don't persuade people to move, that's not our job, right? We persuade them that we have the services that will help them if it's a good time or if they're considering it, right? So I think that's step number one. And so you already said it, Charlie, call the people you already know and call a lot of them, right? If you had 300 names in your database and you spoke to every single one, what's 7% times 3? That's 21 maybes out of 300. Now we can give you all the creative ones, and maybe we should. But I just want to say, those who are saying, no, give me the magic beans. Don't tell me to call people who already trust me, who've already experienced my service. Not that. Give me the magic beans. There are no magic beans. 7 or 8% of all the people who own a house in your market are getting ready to list it this year. You've got to get in the path. You've got to be there when they decide to list. Charlie, have you ever had the experience in your own neighborhood where you're driving around and you see a sign and it's like maybe not an attractive sign, or it's one of those kind of, we call it mom and pop or frickin' frack, you know, those of us who are with big brands, we tend to criticize the little ones, right?
Right.
And did you ever think, how did they get that listing?
Yep.
Why not me?
Yep.
I'm experienced. I'm with Remax, right? Did you have an at-bat? Did you even go on the listing appointment? Why are you so offended, right? So that's what I think it is. It's more at-bats. We've got to get in the path of these people.
Agreed. You know, it's a shame that this can't be a video game where to get to the next level, and the next level is like creative way number 1 to get more listings. You have to call all your past clients in Sphere to get to the next level. And then it like opens up the next level, and then you do that and it opens up the next level. It's almost like we're, you know, I know you know, I don't know your list, but I'm sure you have a list of things that we're gonna dump on people today. It's gonna be great, but it's like the agents that I see when they go to theallegianceway.com and they download collateral. There's some people that go there and they download like 15 things at once, because I get emails every time they download, and we'll get 15 emails. I'm just like, what are they going to do with all that stuff right now? I mean, it's not going away, right? You know, we're not taking this stuff away. We didn't say there's a deadline, you need to download, or it disappears. You know, why wouldn't you pick one thing and do it, right? And then move on to the next.
Yeah.
So here we are, we're about to give them a list, right? A dump. And we're saying, pick one thing, hopefully past clients in Sphere, because I think one time, and I asked this question so many times, and you and I have talked about it on the show, has everybody heard from you? Does everybody that knows you, have they heard from you by voice in the last 90 days? I've had one person say yes. I've asked that question literally hundreds of times. Right. So here we go. We're about to go to the next level of the game and introduce it, even though they haven't completed this level. And I think you and I are just asking, let's complete this level before we start on the next stuff. And to say, well, I can do it all at once, you probably can't. You probably can't.
No.
Right? Okay. So
much, Charlie. I love this concept that you can't get to the next level until you finish the first level. It's a perfect analogy, because you're going to waste time if you try. If you say, no, I'm going to ignore the 300 people. You and I have had this. When I ask a coaching client, well, how long have you lived in that community? My entire life. Yep. Really? And you don't know anybody. Well, I don't want to bother them. Okay. Well, someone else's sign is going up in their yard.
Well, and you know, maybe we're beating a dead horse, but everybody wants the secret sauce, the magic pill. Yeah. And that is your past clients in Sphere, right? And to repeat what we've already said, those people they already know you, like you, and trust you.
Right.
They are far less likely to beat you up on commission. They are far more likely to trust you on price. If you're going after, and there's nothing wrong with going after FSBOs and expireds and other creative ways or other ways, right? But those people are more likely to be interviewing more agents, to be asking you to cut a point off your commission, to be fighting you on price because they know more than you do, right, in their mind. So, you know, we know that the secret sauce and the magic pill is the people that we already know and that already know us, like us, and trust us. And by doing more deals, we're getting to know more people. and hopefully we're loving on those people. That's something we've been talking about a lot this year. I think Chris Krause, our marketing guy, he got 5 sets of cookies from Cheryl's Cookies from 5 different agents this year, because I've been shoving cookies down everybody's throat saying everyone needs to subscribe to cookies, put everybody on the list. And I guess the agents have been asking him, so what's your address? Which is brilliant, right? So some people are getting it.
Yeah.
And, the surprise and delights, he was surprised by that, right? Getting all these cookies. But that's the point. And if we do that at a higher level, and if we talk to our agents at an appropriate level, the listings will come.
Yeah.
So anyway, all of that said, what are the creative ways, Amy?
Creative
That's what
ways.
the topic is.
Well, I think COVID puts a crimp in some of my creative ways. Like some of my favorite ones, like take the most crazy donuts. We have a shop here that has just all the things you can imagine, right? It's, Captain Crunch, bacon, crazy creative donuts. Take 3 dozen of those to the office of one of your best connectors. One of the people with a buyer need flyer or whatever it is. And then call your buddy later and say, well, how long did it take for all the donuts to get eaten? There are ways to be in front of people. I think COVID puts, kind of dampens some of those things, but it's the stuff that you put on social and the conversations you have voice to voice, right? So we've already said, call your sphere. People are going to say, I don't want to be annoying. Please don't be annoying. And I'm asking my coaching clients to be very, very direct and say, I have one very quick real estate question to ask you. Like, make it clear that you're calling for a specific thing, and then say, have you considered selling your house this year? And if you're uncomfortable with that, because you sold them that house a year ago, then just say, who do you know that's considering selling their house? And keep in mind that 95% will say, I can't think of anybody.
Right.
It's a numbers game. You got to do a lot of those. Then do home valuations for people. You're making a good point that we live and breathe this every day. Not everybody knows that they could be pulling equity out of their house and do something else. They don't know that it may be a good time to move. Of course, we're wanting in listings. We may, what's happening, Charlie, to my people who are making their calls? They're getting buyers.
Yes.
So, and I get that that's a legitimate problem, but you've just got to keep trying. The other things are the things that you post, right? I have a brand new coaching client. She's actually brand new to real estate. She said, I had 4 listing appointments last week. I said, are you kidding? How? TikTok. So you've got to come up with a compelling ask, right? Explain how we're getting top dollar. We have people who also feel like, I don't need an agent, I can get top dollar. This is where storytelling will take you really far. I'm fortunate to be at a brokerage where we talk shop, we have masterminds, we share our anecdotes, and I can share in a video, I can share voice to voice. Here's what's happening in our market right now. When we have people thinking, I don't need an agent, or I can list it myself, or that is absolutely true. And then you can explain what would happen if they had your services, right? How you could manage the transition and how you could get well beyond top dollar. There's top dollar, and then there's where we're actually selling houses right now.
Yeah, so I think it's important to, just to add real quick, I think it's important to, when we have a valuable transaction that can turn into a case study, to make a note of that case study. We're doing a lot of deals. It's easy to forget that stuff. Pam Morgan from our Burke office, she picked up a for sale by owner this week. He was going to list it for like $725. She's got it listed at $800. Sure. And he didn't know what he was doing, and he was about to do the deal, right? And somehow something happened and the buyers pulled out. So their agent really screwed up too, because they had instant equity. Right. So the stars kind of aligned. But she only got it because she asked. Sure. And now she's got a case study to use for future for sale by owners. Oh, here's, Joe Smith. This is what these are the circumstances. This is what he was going to do. I stepped in. Yes, he paid a commission, but his net was much higher. We've talked before about these FSBOs. They are so focused on the commission and they're not focused on the net. And that's what we need to be focused on. Anyway, I interrupted. Go ahead. No. That's exactly right. I think that's exactly right. Because Charlie, you and I know most agents don't struggle for lack of humans, but they struggle for lack of things to say, or they think they do. Right. So case studies are brilliant to be able to say, this is how that works. Make it very tangible.
so that we're not just saying, I'm great at what I do, pick me.
Right. Yep.
You'll be better off with me, pick me. Not compelling.
Yep.
So I think the case studies are huge. Think about the fact that investors are being extremely successful with all these "we buy ugly homes" type postcards, and they're not even being that blunt anymore. It's just, we're looking for houses.
Yep.
I get multiple texts per week saying, I love your home. Really? They've never seen my home.
Right.
Hi, this is Mary. I want to buy your house. Who the heck is Mary?
I know.
They wouldn't do it if it wasn't working.
Right.
So I want to suggest that you could do something similar, but way more compelling, right? My favorite buyer need letter is very, very concrete. And we have to be careful about fair housing. But for me, it's concrete. The one that I had the most success with that I share is, I did use the people's first names. So if giving away that they were heterosexual would be problem, then maybe that's a problem. But I said, Dave and Carol are downsizing from Glen Eagle and want to live in either Arendelle or Pulpit Rock, and I've showed them everything available already.
Yep.
So who do you know that's considering selling a house sometime this year? They're looking for 3+ beds, 2+ bath, 2+ garage under X price, which was every home in those two hoods.
Right.
Okay. Now, it was true. I wasn't being disingenuous. This was 100% true. And I said, and they want one large wall for art. It was a moose head. I probably should have put the moose head in the flyer. It would have been funny, but I thought maybe it was distasteful. So I said, one large wall for art. This was all completely true.
Yep.
It was really compelling. People were willing to talk to me about it. My clients got divorced and never bought a house, but I got a listing out of the deal. It was a very compelling ask. So as opposed to the postcards I get at my house that are the same every time.
Yep.
I want to buy your house. I want to buy your house. I want to buy your house. You can do a buyer need letter, and you can do a couple. But I would say make it a story. Make it something worth reading, because we're not convincing people to move. We're convincing people who are already considering moving to call you.
Right. And I think specificity is your friend, like you said, and the general letters are clearly people that are fishing for listings, right? In your letter, you're clearly trying to help a buyer find a home. Yeah. It's compelling. Well,
in my market, it's not even people fishing for listings. It's flippers.
Okay.
Yeah. The flippers.
Yeah. I get those texts almost every day too. And I need to reply. I'm like, $1 million and, $1 bills unmarked delivered to my front porch on, these people.
Yeah. So you could do a series with these case studies on Instagram, right? Like the problem with giving all the magic beans, Charlie, is I feel like we're going to fire hose our audience with things that are going to be maybe more technical than they're ready for. But, the content can be so specific to, you tell the stories. This is when we listed, these were the comps. This is where we listed it. This is what we got. This is the property preparation. This is how we helped the client. We put the client up in a hotel with their pets for a 3-day weekend, and we got the home sold, and here's what we did. Those sorts of things. Like I say, we're not persuading people to move. We're persuading people to call you because they're considering moving. So the thing, Charlie, you said it, you've just got to pick something and do the heck out of it. So if you're going to skip over your spear and not do it, then choose a video series and choose a channel, right? And then do the heck out of it every single day for 30 days. Say, I'm going to spend 30 days becoming the expert at talking about listing in this market, right? Watch other people's videos on YouTube, talk to other agents in the office, talk to your broker, create those 30 videos and just execute, because otherwise we're going to give you 49 different crazy ideas and you're going to try 2 of them once and it won't be as effective as if you stuck with it. The other thing we've been talking about not infrequently lately is doing home valuations for people. Once they know how much equity they have in their home, they might consider. Might consider moving. Right? You just never know when it's a time in someone's life. Maybe they do want to relocate to another city and be closer to their kids or whatever it might be. In my market, it's challenging to get people to list and move across town because we have never had such a low inventory. Like every day we say, this is crazy. A week later, it's half.
It's crazier.
It's
Right.
getting crazy.
Right. Yep.
So how could you have 700,000 people in our market, 395 single family homes?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's rough. So
Yep.
maybe I'm looking for the people who like, really, I could get that for my property. Here's the other thing I'm saying in my case study, Charlie, when I talk to people, is I'm calling it surge pricing.
Okay.
Surge pricing, like with Uber, like
Yep.
or Lyft, right?
Right.
When you're trying
Right.
to get a ride, and everybody needs a ride at the same time. There's surge pricing, and the ride that would normally cost X now costs Y.
I love that. Yep.
We have surge pricing in Colorado Springs, and so the comps say the house is worth, the comps are back here. I don't know if this is going the right direction. So if I pull 30 days worth of comps, we'll say it's priced right here. I'm going to price it here, and we're going to get this.
Yep.
Now, I don't know that if we had more standing inventory, I mean, the comps are going to be here, and I'm going to at least get this.
Yep.
But the surge pricing is outrageous because of the lack of options. So this is something else that I can say to people. I have no idea what you'll get for your house in August, but the surge pricing right now is out of control. Again, the more people you can talk to, the more at bats. So that's what I would recommend, is whatever it takes to get you face to face and voice to voice. Pick a channel, whatever it is. If fancy donuts is your thing, you can be the masked bandit and visit the businesses that are actually open with your crazy, like maybe the things that I'm saying won't work during COVID will work during COVID, because people are feeling deprived of personal interaction.
Right.
And fun, crazy things aren't happening anymore.
No,
So,
I've got somebody that visits schools. I know some schools are virtual learning, but some school districts, they're not. They're in-person learning. You can take donuts to a school if they're doing in-person learning at that school, be it public or private.
Yeah.
And getting back to the surge pricing, the surge always ends. So take advantage of surge pricing while it's here, because it's going to end. Just like, we've all been waiting for an Uber or a Lyft, and it's like, God, this surge, I'm going to wait for this rainstorm to end, and we know that it's going to go back down to normal pricing, right? As soon as the thunderstorm ends, surge pricing will go away because the demand will drop. So eventually the surge pricing when it comes to these listing prices will end. We all know, shouldn't say we all know that. We hope that all the agents know that. Newer agents, they think this is the way that it is, and it's not, right? There's going to be a day that we're going to literally say we have too many listings. Oh my God, don't give me another listing, right? I mean, that day will be here. Please, I need more buyers, right? That day will be here. So what else do you have for us today to wrap up?
I think the last thing people need to be prepared for, and part of this is to just overcome their own call reluctance. The truth is, agents, if you would just cold call humans, I had a trainer say this to me once. He said, if you called 100 people randomly and said, I'm a realtor and I have no idea why I called you, one of them would list their house. It's a numbers game, right?
It is a numbers game.
So quit overthinking the script, right?
Yep.
So the first thing is you've got to be in the path of conversations. You've got to just talk to a lot of people. But if you're afraid of what to say, we've given you a lot of scripts. If you're afraid of the objection, where will I move? Yes, I would like to sell my house, but I don't know where I would move. Be prepared with all of those. And we've shared those on other shows, right? It's the clause that protects them, that they can list, but they only accept offers that have the clause built into the offer that they still have time to go find a property.
Right.
And that's a seller contingency. All the different things, the lease back.
Yep.
There are ways that you can do it. So be prepared with how to manage that so that you're intelligently handling those seller objections, and get in the path of the business. Go have hundreds of conversations, and remember that the move rate is not 50%.
Yeah, I like that. I had a client the other day that was, concerned about the objections around moving. And I said, this person has been in business for a long time. I said, so how many people have you had go homeless in your career? Well, none. I said, are you going to let somebody go homeless? Is that honestly going to happen? Well, of course not. I said, then quit letting people tell you that they're afraid of being homeless. I mean, seriously. Okay, it's always good to see you. I think we'll leave it there. Have a great weekend. Back over to Eyerusalem.
Thank you so much for watching. And as always, we're here to make your real estate career better.
Take care, everybody.